Marmolada. Despite its funny name, it's the highest and most majestic peak of the Dolomites, the most beautiful part of the Alps in sunny northern Italy. This is where you find one of the most impressive ski runs in Europe and even the world. It's 8.5 km long, but more importantly, it has a total vertical drop of 1,815 meters, mostly on red slope. For many skiers visiting this region, completing this run is almost a matter of honor. However, not many choose to stay in accommodations right at the base of the mountain, so today we'll be heading there from the town of Arabba, which is located on the famous Ronda ski circuit. The whole trip from Arabba and back should take about 3 hours. Arabba has 3 gondolas, 2 of which take us towards Marmolada. We reach a high mountain pass and start skiing down a red slope. At first it's quite steep, then it flattens out, but be careful. Both this run and the descent from Marmolada are what my friend would call no jokes red. So as tempting as it may be, wouldn't recommend this trip to beginner skiers. Next we take an old, slow two-seated chairlift. This flat section winds through a sort of plateau. On a sunny day this scenery is peaceful and truly beautiful. You can really enjoy the atmosphere. We then reach a more modern chairlift, which takes us up to another slightly lower mountain pass. Behind us we can already see the northern slopes of Marmolada with what's left of its glacier. Now we have a long red descent ahead of us. From here we can already see the ski run from Marmolada, and logically this red run we're on is clearly visible from there. This descent isn't too difficult. We ski down into the valley and follow the road. The lower part of this route is completely flat. There are no ski lifts along it, so if we pass the button lifts, the only way back on skis is through Marmolada. It might seem like a good place to stay, and there are even some decent hotel offers, but unfortunately it's a bit of a dead end. Getting out of here, whether on skis or by car, it's very time consuming, unless you want to start every morning on Marmolada. Now we take a long gondola ride, actually 3 gondolas, with 2 transfer stations along the way. No surprise, since we need to climb almost 2 kilometers. At the second transfer station we can visit the highest museum in Europe, dedicated to World War I. Finally, we reach the top. From the terrace on the station's rooftop, there is an absolutely stunning view, especially today with perfect weather. But it's time to stop admiring the view and start skiing. We step onto a flat, well-prepared area where skiers can adjust their gear. The gathered crowd doesn't seem to be in a rush. A few more photos, and then it's time to go. The run is indeed quite long. It's not the easiest red slope either. I've skied easier black runs in other countries. But ski run difficulty ratings vary between countries and regions, so it's always a bit tricky to compare. At the beginning we ski over the glacier. It looks like there is not much left of it. It's just after 11 AM. The sun is shining, it's slightly below freezing, and there is no wind. Perfect conditions. But unfortunately, despite the early hour, the slope is already quite choppy. Some skiers look a bit nervous, so they go slowly, carving deep tracks into the snow. The descent is really long. Many people stop for breaks, usually before the steeper sections. Even though it's mid-January, there is very little snow. snow cannons are already working in the upper part of the run, but even so high, there are some stones on the surface. Without artificial snow, it wouldn't be possible to ski here, even at this altitude. Some steeper sections are broken up by traverses. Apparently, this Marmolada run has dedicated fans, but many skiers don't like it at all. The landscape is absolutely incredible, but to fully enjoy the ride, it's best to come early in the morning. Finally, we reached the junction with the red slope we skied earlier. From here we can still descend another 300 vertical meters over nearly 3 kilometers. However, if we miss the button lifts and don't climb back up the road, we'll have to ski down from Marmolada again. Get back to the Sella Ronda, we must turn left before the button lifts and head towards the bottom station of the chairlift. If you miss this turn, you will have to take the slow ride back up. Hey there, wait for cameraman! Okay, finally we are back together and we can head back. Now we return the same way we came. Where we took lifts before, we now ski down. And where we skied before, we now take the lifts up. We quickly reached the first mountain pass and now it's time for another red descent. Be careful, some parts are really steep. If a difficult section is short and the slope is wide, the whole run doesn't necessarily get a higher difficulty rating. And besides, if they mark this as black, fewer people would came here. We passed through the same beautiful plateau again. It's nice to relax on the chairlift with such stunning views around. The downside? None of these chairlifts have a protective covers. I guess the weather isn't always this perfect. Now we have a long and gentle blue run ahead of us. Even though the two-seated chairlift above us have a very low capacity, most of them are actually empty. We pass the lift station and head towards the final descent to Arabba. Here we have a choice. We can take the red run or the black one. The one shown in the video is the red one. We ski down to where we started and finish our trip. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Every sub helps keep the motivation up for making more videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.